Step by step.
That was my favorite
All right,
skit.
everyone.
I love
Inch
that skit.
by inch.
Who doesn't like the Stooges?
Welcome to the Enter Shaolin webinar, where you may learn Kung Fu or you may learn how to be Three Stooges. Who knows?
Cut it out or something.
It's live. I can't cut it out. All right.
Oh my God.
All right, family. I'm Sije Jamie Pelaez. I have Sifu Phu here, also Sifu Larry, who's going to be manning the chat room. Oh, okay. Hold on. We've got extra stuff going on. There we go.
What's going on?
So if you are on YouTube or Facebook and you have a question, you can put it in the comment section and Sifu Larry will make sure it gets over to us and we'll take care of you. And if you are live on the webinar with us, there is a Q&A spot. Click on that and you can go ahead and do that. If you're also on the live webinar, you can chat with us by just going to all panelists if you need to send me something privately. Also, the Q&A is private too, so that goes directly to us as well. If you want to talk to everyone, make sure you say all panelists and attendees. And all right, so we have online live with us, we have Alvin, Billy, Brian, Caleb, Dominic, Atay, Karthik, Melanie, Michael, and Terry. So welcome everyone. And while you guys and girls are thinking of some stuff to ask us this week, we have lots of Q&A from the previous week since we missed a week last week. So we'll get into that. Do you have anything cool you want to share?
Hey, all.
All right, so let me get that all up and then we will take care of everyone. All right, webinar questions. We have a lot. So let me minimize the screen and get this a little bit smaller.
Why weren't we here last week?
Because you were
I'm kidding.
You were flying back from Israel.
Flying high. Literally.
I would hope so, or you would have crashed. All right, so let's see here. Who did we not get to? Oh, okay. So Amit wants you to demonstrate a 0-inch punch or fajing on someone. He says he's not thinking of Sifu Larry, obviously. Nope, not him. Hint, hint.
It's gotta be Jamie. Hit her! Hit her!
He says, I find that technique to be one of the coolest things Sifu does, and no one knows about it. If you can demonstrate that power on camera, I think it will blow people's minds away.
Dedicated video.
So do you want to do it?
That's fine.
We do actually have a dedicated, well, not a dedicated video on Enter Tai Chi, but we do have one for our Abbott members. So Amit, in the Abbott section, you can go check that out because I know you're an Abbott member. So I don't know if we would do that for a dedicated
Well, you
video.
can't see it on video. You can just see the result of it.
Right.
It's because it's a very tight in. You can see the body, how it creates a wind up in energy. To break it down, you need three things. You have to have your root, you have to have your acceleration, and you have to have your focus on contact. Those are the things that makes your hit. To generate good power, again, to hit with a force being constant, it generally spreads upon impact. We want to accelerate it, and we want to focus to a small point because it'll create a piercing technique rather than a forceful pushing technique. To demonstrate on her hand so it doesn't hurt her, everything that we do, like hold tight as you can to represent the stiffness. You don't want to create movements or like this, where you can see the delay in my body. You can see my body move forward first, then my arm come and try to target. The goal is think of the root, think of the 3-proof, hold tight, and then get the energy out. So you can see I'm going from here, and then you can see how her body moves. If I do it like this, she has time to fight. You do it like this, there's no time to fight. So when you create an internal hit, especially at close quarter, the key is to get that acceleration and to get that focus. The way you want to accelerate, since you're very close, you don't have the speed to create the acceleration. You have to get it from your waist, and you got to connect that waist to the wrist at the same time. So if you can see what I'm doing here, watch the waist and the wrist. You can see they move at the same time. You don't want to create a body, waist, then arm like that. You're going to create a delay, which will create a force being like a push rather than acceleration. It'll be a constant. So we don't want a constant force. We want an accelerated force, and we want to learn how to use that at the same time together. And so it becomes very, very small. So you can see my body sinks a little bit. So I get drive from the root and from the sink of that. And then I use that upward drive of energy into my hands. And that's how I create the internal hits.
Yeah. And for those of you that are Abbott members, we did do a 1-inch punch in the Abbott only section. So go check it out if you haven't already, of course. Or watch it again because it's just cool to watch. All right. So let's see here. So that was Amit. So Amit is good to go. And let's see, Larry, I can't find where to get my free download book. Can you help me out? Absolutely. So, Larry, you have to log into the site. And then once you're logged in, that would be under the Ngo Dac Na intro section. So when you log in, it automatically takes you to a page called My Training page. And there's the welcome video. Under that is Stay in the Know, which is our weekly updates. And right below that is the Ngo Dac Na intro ebook and the free videos, as well as some bonus videos for you. So hopefully that will help you and enjoy. All right. So next we have Amir. He has 2 additional questions.
One per person, please.
All right, we should do one question a week. All right, so I included my original one just to consolidate with a slight modification. Not sure which would be easy for y'all. 1, how do you balance training multiple styles at once? Like if one was doing Tai Chi, Wing Chun with some China, how would someone really schedule all these different arts in some type of daily, weekly routine? Like one style daily, 20 minutes per day, or should they focus on one before moving to the next?
Okay, to answer the first question, stop thinking about the terms of the words. They're all about energy and all about movement. So once you work on one, you are helping all the others. You know, when you learn how to control your body, you're going to learn how to intercept energy. You're going to learn how to strike with energy, and you can learn to develop the ability to lock. The difference between like the locking and the striking is locking is more controlled through a longer period of duration, where striking is instant, and that's really one of the biggest difference you have. But don't think of it as styles of this style does this style. It's about understanding how to move. It's like dancing. Once you learn how to dance, you can learn to do other dancing. Yes, there's slight differences. You have to adapt. You have to change. But all in all, the fundamental principle of dancing is feeling music, the internal music, and learn how to move with that. And that's the same when you learn how to move with your hands and your energy. You have to feel that energy movement, and you have to learn how to control that. And once you do, it's just slight modification, whether you're going to lock or whether you're going to counter strike or whether you're going to channel people's energy. It's all about just tweaking those little things into something from like the top knuckles and the striking to turning into the palm to when you create a grip, or rotating the wrist to rotate someone's energy or challenge someone's energy. Slight variation, slight modification, but they all have an underlying principle, which is all the same. You know, like I always talk about the root, the 3 proof. They are all underlining the movement to any style that you do. And again, it doesn't have to be what we do. It could be karate, it could be jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter, judo. It's still energy. Energy is universal, so therefore it'll adapt to any style. So when you think about training, oh, if I'm training Tai Chi, is going to be different from this. If you are one who is confused by, let's say, the movements, I always tell people, you know, you can train any style you want as long as you're able to compartmentalize what it is and break it down and do it. If you can't, then only stick with one. But most people can do more than one. I mean, unless you're mentally challenged, you should be able to pick up any one. You know, whether I tell you, if I told you to do this in animals, that's a crane. Wing Chun has it as a fook, you know. Tai Chi has it in single whip. So they all have an interchangeable way of doing it. They might go about slightly different. 5 + 5 is 10. 20 divided by 2 is 10. One adds, one divides, but the principle of math is still the same, you know, from 0 to 9. That's it. And how you go about it is slightly different, slight modification here and there, but all understanding the line principle, and that's what really matters. Okay.
Yep. And you can also check out the Ngo Dac Na 101 course. There'll be also a 102 and 103, and that will literally take you through time over the next several years, how to integrate all these different styles that we do teach at Enter Shaolin. So you don't have to worry about guessing, like, what should I work on this week? But you can always add on to it. So if you have more time, you can go in from the Ngo Dac Na 101 course, do your weekly course. And then if you have extra time, you can go into the training hall and add on to there. Just take your time and do what you love, and don't overwhelm yourself. And now I'm boring Sifu.
No. What were you saying? I was tired. No.
So he also said, what are some recommended readings for martial arts? If there are a lot, would it be possible to compile them on a single list, or at least have a list of bare necessities?
In terms of recommended readings for martial arts, I I can't tell you. I don't read those books, so I have no idea to tell you. But you know, anytime you read something and it has information, you're gaining knowledge, so it's good.
Sifu Larry,
Anything that you do that pertains to what you're
you
doing.
got some
and-
recommendations? He's got some recommendations for y'all.
Yeah, here's
One
a
of the
better
best
person.
books to read. Start with that one. Also, the Jeet Kune Do's, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, that's a really good read too. It talks about how Bruce Lee got started in martial arts and how he took Wing Chun and he converted it to what he was doing that became Jeet Kune Do. It's a really good read. I would say start there. And then when you read them, let us know and we'll tell you more.
I shouldn't be saying this, but it's gonna put a lot of pressure on me. But
I was
I'm
gonna
writing-
say
I'm
we're gonna have
writing-
a book soon.
I'm writing a book on energy and then Ngo Dac Na. Now I wrote an ebook, a small ebook. I'm writing a big long book. It's gonna probably be like 100 pages or so. It's gonna be like 20 pages. I don't put my pressure on me like that. It's gonna be like 20 pages or so, but it's gonna have a lot of the knowledge and a lot of information, all about energy, all about principles of human body. And again, it's not about the style of Ngo Dac Na. It is what Ngo Dac Na pertains to. But
He's
We're,
got a
talk- we're
file.
talking about books. I'll just show you some books. I've read all these books.
didn't read that one.
Here's a book. You can always go back and replay and figure out the
And
names.
don't worry, I will make a list of these.
Here's a book.
for
I didn't read that
everyone
one.
to be able to go check them out.
Here's a book.
That one I didn't read either. Oh wait, maybe no, I didn't read that one either.
Because he's not educated.
He's more of a video
He's more-
gamer.
he's more of a video gamer.
I saw that book. I never read it though.
And I'm putting these up there like this because you can save this video and look at the titles if you're that interested.
Yeah.
That didn't interest me.
Nothing interests you, man, because it ain't got no video games in it, and it's not made with beef. Whoa, never mind. Let's not
Wrong
look
book.
at that one.
Oh, if you
That
don't
one I
think
read.
so.
Believe it or not, I read that one. That was a good book.
You read?
Yes. They had an audio file. on
Everybody
that.
who does modern martial arts should read this book, especially if you're getting started.
Who's that guy?
Some dude,
Some dude.
some Asian.
Like this?
You ain't Asian, dude. You're white.
I'm a banana. Yellow on the outside, white on the inside.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay.
Yes, I'm still writing the book.
Ugh. And these are only a
it's-
few
Yes.
of my books. I have a library in the basement of even more books I've read.
He's actually
Yeah,
waiting for me to
so-
finish the book.
So Sifu Larry is gonna be so kind to make a list of those with links on where they can buy them and get a good deal on them. Right, Sifu Larry? Yeah, that was right. Okay, so we'll get that out to y'all. Karthik says, "Good luck, Sifu, for your book." Oh yes, and yes, like Amit says, the ebook Ngo Dac Na, the basic fundamentals. If you don't have that, you can go to entershaolin.com/ebook and sign up. to
It's a
get
good
it.
book. I know. I wrote it.
And
It's
I
good.
edited it. It's fabulous. We might be a little partial though, but we love
And
it.
I got a
And
10-page
everyone
book coming out.
and a 10-page book coming out. It might be 20, maybe 100. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So he
That's a
says-
lot of pressure on me. In my old age, I'm starting to forget. So
you better get it all down then. All right.
that's okay, Sifu Larry. I mean, Jay. I mean, my mind.
Oh
my
Lord.
mind.
God help us. Okay. So he also says, what makes Tai Chi so central to a martial artist? I've heard you mention it before, and it's really intriguing. Can you expound on what makes it so great?
What I like about Tai Chi, and I find that Tai Chi is good, is it really works on the soft side that most people don't have. A lot of styles work on their hard side, and it's great. I'm not saying anything against it, but to be even better, you need to complement it with a soft side. You know, you can be like this great at what you do. If you have that balance with the soft side, you're going to be past the screen. You know, you're going to be even better. It's what a lot of people are missing. Soft is what you need to create the balance to keep your heart in check. Otherwise, you know, that theory is if you become too hard, you become overcommitted. You wind up losing more energy, harder to recover. You wind up throwing your body, and so size becomes a factor. So if you're weighing 150 pounds, you go against a 250 pound, that's going to make a difference. You need the soft side to handle his force. So you need to find that balance. And I find that a lot of styles don't have that and don't emphasize that as much as how Tai Chi does. And there are styles that do soft styles, but they kind of limit themselves into some of the things that do. Like Aikido is great. They have soft styles and they create moves. But I find that Tai Chi is more well-rounded because they don't just focus on trying to evade. They learn how to invade. They learn how to shift and yield at the same time, create an attack. Whereas a lot of styles, like I said, they more defensive. Where to me, Tai Chi is more counter offensive. Like the Ngo Dac Na, it's about finding the balance and bringing it back to them, not just getting away from them. So I find Tai Chi to be very, very complete. The downside to Tai Chi, it does takes a long time to learn because it takes you your discipline to know not to rely on your strength, because what you lack in skill you make up in strength. So if you don't know how to become soft in what you do, you will naturally eventually just go back to your strength, and we got to learn to avoid that. And it takes time to put your body in that discipline to learn how to control energy, not fight energy, learn how to manipulate the force rather than resist the force. So though that's really good in Tai Chi, and I find that it makes a big difference. I see it in all of my students; they've become much better. Sifu Larry can attest to that. Sifu Tai could do the same thing. Tai Chi is just more well-rounded than a lot of styles out there. And because of that, though, the downside to it, you have to commit to learn to it because it does take a long time.
But it'll enhance everything else.
But
you do.
it's worth it. It's like a long-term investment.
Yep.
I want to add just my 2 cents to that. When you're studying like Wing Chun or boxing or any kind of martial art like that, hi. When you're studying those arts, it's more like Marines. You know, you learn how to get in there and throw some hands, and there's more contact, and you're getting hit more, so you learn to deal with your own fear, and you're dealing with pressure faster. Tai Chi's void of all that force and stress. So if you just started training in Tai Chi and nothing else, it's pretty peaceful. Ain't nobody trying to get hurt in Tai Chi. However, if you do study a combative art where you're really getting in there and you're throwing fists and stuff, and you start training Tai Chi, Tai Chi helps you relax, and it helps you become softer, and it helps you use your skill rather than using your muscle and your force. So Tai Chi by itself really does take a lot longer time to use effectively in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add Tai Chi to anything, it's like you're giving yourself a boost, and it increases your skill very, very quickly. I wish when he told me to study Tai Chi, I would have started then and really focused on it. I waited a decade though, until I was totally disgusted with where my skill was. And then I started Tai Chi. But once I committed to doing Tai Chi, I've always done Tai Chi. And now, if there's one thing that I'm grateful for that Sifu Phu taught me, it was Tai Chi, because it's probably the most important thing I can do for my life.
There's a lot of balance behind Tai Chi. Like I said, it has a soft to the heart, and that's what really makes it very, very good. And it'll complement a lot of what you do because it entails about energy. It tells about learn how to move and control the energy. A lot of styles that I've seen, a lot of teachers, they learn how to move energy. Okay, but the Ngo Dac Na style, in the what we call the Ngo Tai Chi, we teach don't just move energy. We teach how to control and manipulate the energy, and that's really what we do. You know, we're not moving, we're controlling. Okay, I'm not just bringing my hand up. I'm controlling that energy when I go up.
Because this is probably going to come up, I'm just going to cut it right off. So when people watch Tai Chi, they see a lot of fantastic things on YouTube, like putting their hands in someone's face and them falling down, or touching them and them moving 100 feet. And there's this thing called NLP, right? Which is what is that word? Neuralistic programming. And that's by convincing people to do stuff using words.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Right.
I'm seeing copying you.
So because people have the ability to influence other people just by the spoken word, like if I told you, whatever you do, I command you not to see pink elephants in your brain. You saw pink elephants in your brain.
I saw a purple alligator.
Oh, well, that's because you're different.
It's not
you guys always be
exactly
different.
hypnotism, that's similar to that, but like they don't actually go
So-
out.
Suggestive programming.
It's
what it
So
is.
hypnotism,
neuro-linguistic programming. I don't know if you guys heard me because I was behind there.
hypnotism works if you are a willing participant
Right.
in the hypnotism.
And
So
it
in,
only works
hypnotize
in
me.
in
general.
other words, your
Until we
subconscious
find it.
mind won't allow you to do anything harmful to yourself unless you give it permission to do so.
Yeah.
So when you see these guys doing Tai Chi and they're moving people and they're just like waving their hands, their students, unfortunately, are not very strong in the mind, and they are allowing themselves to be manipulated to let these things happen.
I saw a video with this guy.
I've been trying to get him to teach me how to levitate, how to shoot fire out of my hands, how to just go and make people knock out. And either he knows it and he's not telling me, or it doesn't exist. And
He's not Asian enough. That's why.
oh,
But then again, neither am I. But anyways, I saw a video of a guy doing Tai Chi and he's doing all this throws and one of my other students like, well, look how awesome he is. And I'm like, no. I was like, you could tell it's fake. And they're like, well, how? You can see him when he hits him, he's flying. It's like, look, the guy's moving like this. Okay. And the guy's flying 5 feet in the air. There's no way, physics-wise, when you talk about that speed, that movement has enough force to make a guy go 100 miles an hour. I can't move 5 miles an hour and make somebody move 200 miles an hour. It's sheer impossibility. In time, speed naturally degrades unless you have something that propels it to keep going, like fuel.
Beijing.
Yes. But there's no way a person's going to be able to do this and go here and go and make someone fly 10 feet. Physics-wise, science-wise, it's impossible. I'm moving only 5 miles an hour. I'm not going to make a guy move 200 miles an hour backwards. It's a physical impossibility. The only way a guy can move 200 miles an hour backwards is if he came at me 195 miles an hour and I came at him 5 miles an hour and my structural integrity was so strong that he bounced. But, there's always a give and take. If he's coming at 195 miles an hour, I have to be able to convert that. And so what you will see is I won't look like very powerful, but you see a fast acceleration because I got to handle that speed. I got to convert that. So I have to learn to move 195 miles an hour or more. So to see someone move this big or this slow and have a guy fly off, that's just garbage. That's just garbage. You can't break science, okay? Science is a fact. That's how we create buildings, how we create cars. We use science. And that's how we learn how to create striking power too. So when you see people going like this and going, and you see someone flying off or dropping on the ground, that's garbage. That's total garbage. There's physics that you cannot deny. And if it doesn't adhere to the physics, and I've seen people when they hit and other people fly, and I say yes, because I can see their hip turn, their body rooting, and you can see the accelerated hit, like, oh, you can see, sorry. Now when someone's going, like that, and then someone's flying. You can't break the science of that. And there's no way you're going to get energy to make someone fly 100 miles an hour unless they're giving you some type of energy back, and it's going to be reverted to them. But when you're just moving, hey, see, he flew. Come on, it's garbage. There's a lot of bad martial arts out there who are making things out to be much better, like those knockout martial arts who can knock you out without touching. It's total garbage.
And I sadly think that's why a lot of people make fun of kung fu is stuff like that.
Well, they make fun of all martial arts.
Well, yeah, but it's because they don't know the real, and it's like everything else. There's good, bad, and everything in between.
There's a lot of people who use, like YouTube, TV shows, commercial, and they commercialize and make it look great. You can make somebody look great when you have cooperative martial arts. Where I go in Pittsburgh, sometimes somebody actually came up to me and was like, man, you're the real deal. What you do really works. I've used it. I've tested it. You're not a lot like these movie martial artists because a lot of them are very cooperative. If you're going to watch somebody do it, have someone take some stranger who's a doubter and show them that it works. Don't take one of your own students because he's going to allow it to work. I can push somebody very little and make them fly if it's my students because they're going to make it want to work. They don't want to look bad. They want to make it look like it's good. I never take my students. When I do demonstrations, I always pick a stranger because I want someone to punch me as hard as they can, fight me as hard as they can, so I can show that it works. I don't pick people who, okay, you punch me straight, then throw a hook punch, and I'm going to destroy you because I know it's coming. When I do demonstrations, I say, hit me. And they go, what do you want me to do? I say, give me anything. I don't tell them what to do because I don't want them to know that, hey, I already know what's coming, so this is why it works. I'm going to demonstrate that it works because if you're not cooperating, if you're random, it's still going to work. This is not about me trying to prepare the movement ahead of time. I don't need to. I need to understand how to move and control the energy on the moment. And that's why I like to demonstrate all the time. I don't like picking cooperative people. I always tell them, fight me as hard as you can, hit me as hard as you can. Don't let me do this move. This is what I'm going to do to you. You, apart from, like I tell them, if I'm going to do a lock, I say, apart from hitting me, because obviously I'm not hitting them back. But they can fight, they can push, they can pull, and I'm going to show that it still works because I understand how energy works and I can manipulate the energy. I had a very, very huge guy, big, fight me on a wrist lock. He said no one can lock his wrist out. And he was a big doubter in martial arts because he just was able to actually take people's force, just withstand it, and then just come and grab them, choke them out, he said. And he said no one locked his wrists out. All these martial artists who were 15, 20 years trying to lock him out, he said no one ever locked him out. He was so strong. I said, all right. And I was able to do a demonstration. I said, I used him, and I said, I'm going to do this lock. And I was like, I want you to fight me everything you got. He was a strong guy, big, strong guy. He was scary.
Isn't that the Israeli Armed Force guy?
Yes. But I told him not to let me do it. And I said, listen, I locked him out. I said, do it again. I said, listen, I'm going to count to 3 so you know what's going to come. I'm not going to surprise you. 1, 2, 3, locked them out. And again, it's about understanding energy and manipulating. See, someone's strength should not be a factor. If you're trying to use the strength, yeah, it's going to factor. But if you learn how to control strength, it becomes your control. It's your force. You're working with him. You know, I'm sitting in the car, driving with the car. I'm not pushing the car. You know, I'm not outside trying to push the car to move. I'm going to hit the gas pedal and I'm going to steer the wheel. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to manipulate the energy to make it go where I want. I always tell people, just think of a strong guy as the gas pedal, the world's most powerful car. He can tell you when he wants to go, how fast he wants to go. You're the steering wheel. You tell it where to go. Okay. The question is can you handle the speed to steer it during that time? And that's the training.
Yep. Terry Hall says, thank you for the Tai Chi discussion. Terry, I did get your email. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it this morning. Sorry that it's took me a couple of days to get to you. Been really backlogged with customer service, but I did get it. We're going to miss you. And thank you so much for your donation. I greatly appreciate it. And we do look forward to seeing you at a future event. So God bless you, brother. Let's see. Sifu Larry sent over from Eddie. How do you work on getting rid of the fear of getting hits?
I would start off with letting someone hit you lightly, like when you spar, let him hit you, purposely let him hit you. So if we're like sparring like this, and then she's punching me, I would just come punch, and I would just let her hit me. So punch me again. So I would let her hit me and just then start developing how to get on point to hit. So she's punching me, I might go like hit me towards the face, and I might just parry punch me again. I would start doing this, and my body's now going to instinctively punch me again. Now I'm going to start to instinctively punch me again. So now I'm going to start to instinctively do that. But let yourself get hit. And then as you get comfortable with it, say, hit me a little harder. Because it's a matter of just getting used to it. Mm-hmm. It's conditioned. And so to get over that fear, let someone attack you. Let someone hit you. Say, hit me about 50%. And you're like, wow, that's the hardest you got? 50%? Wow, I could take more. Give me 80%, 90%, 100%. You know, you can start to see that a lot of people can't hit hard. They really don't. A lot of people throw a lot of energy, but they don't know how to focus a lot of energy. Right. And that's what really matters. Now, I could take a very sharp knife or a point like this and a blade, but if I'm like this, how hard I hit her, it's not really going to hurt because the focus isn't there. So unless you know he's a trained, like focus, knows how to focus his hit, and he's a good hitter, I would say, give me 10%. Let me feel. Okay, now give me 20%. And let the feeling come. Let yourself get hit. And you're like, it wasn't too bad.
Right. And as you get used to it, you can ask your partner to do random attacks.
Yep.
And that will help you as well. Because basically what's happening with that fear is you're going to start flinching. And you don't want to do that when you're in a fight. If someone's attacking you, you don't want to get scared. You don't want to flinch. You don't want to second guess. You want to be able to just move.
I tell my students to do this in their mindset. I say, listen, I'm going to hit you. Get hit. Let it hit you. But trade it for an even better hit. So, yeah, like I say, you shot me my leg. I shot you in the face. And I tell them, I'm going to hit you. Just take the shot and go for the shot back. So as you get hit the face. Don't be afraid. Fear is what's going to cause you to hesitate. Fear is what's going to cause you to back away rather than go forward. Fear is what's going to cause you to pause rather than initiate. So get used to being hit. Like she's going to hit my stomach. So, and I'm just going to train myself. Like, give me harder hit. Like, and I'm just going to teach myself that when the hits, I know not to back away or run away. I'm just going to take the hit to go for a forward hit. And it's a good way to condition yourself and your mind and your body to not be afraid of getting hit, especially if you have someone that can hit pretty good and you say, listen, hit me 20%. Now I'm comfortable with it. Give me 30, 40, and 80. And he's like, I'm getting hit 80%. And he still doesn't value. Like, wow, like I could take a lot more than I thought. And now you're not going to be afraid. You know, people fear of what they don't know and what they're not comfortable with. Once you understand what hitting's like and you're comfortable and you know how it feels, you're not going to be afraid of it. And it's fear is in your mind. It's not in your body. It's in your head first. So once you get comfortable with it, it's not going to bother you at all. And you understand it. Nothing.
Absolutely. Hey, Bob. No problem. Don't worry about being late. We're just glad to have you on, brother. Sifu also sent over from Eddie. He says, one more question. Does Sifu's teachings help an individual having the ability of defending oneself from 4 attackers?
Yes and no. We don't believe in defense. We believe in counteroffense. The training will help you to handle 4 people, but not defend off of 4 people. I don't believe in defense. It causes you to hesitate, causes you to be afraid, it causes you to push away. We believe in counteroffensive. So the answer is yes, you can handle 4 people. Absolutely. It's about, again, like training, like always, you have to understand scenarios. I always like teach scenarios, and I teach principles, like the closest guy you want to hit, you want to bring him to you so he can cover you. It's what we call shield techniques. If someone comes at me and she comes punching me, I want to move, I want to use her so I can protect myself this way. And someone's coming from my backside, I can push her towards my backside and go to the next person. So there's principles of what you want to learn to do. And you've heard people say, look, if you're surrounded by a lot of people, hit the biggest guy there, because if you knock him down like he's nothing, everyone else is afraid. Sifu Larry got jumped by 4 or 5 guys. How many was it? 4 guys at his car. And the funny thing was, it was like a week before he got attacked. He's like, how do I know if I'm good? I can't. And I said, listen, I don't teach you to memorize how to fight. I teach you how to feel the fight. You're going to learn how to do it instinctively. And it's going to be like you're watching yourself fight. And sure enough, a week later, he got jumped by 4 guys. And it was exactly what I told him. He's like, he just knew everything in that moment. It was just instinctive fighting. He knew what to do, how to do it. He didn't think about it. He was about it. And that's what we train you to do.
And see, if you worry about that situation enough, it will come to you and you'll get to find out. That's what Sifu Larry experienced.
He did what I told him to do. He just they started with him. He's like, oh. He was close to the guy. He went, wham! He hit the guy and dropped him. Without warning, he just hit him because he knew he couldn't avoid the fight. They were right in front of his car, wouldn't let him get in his car. So he knew it was an unavoidable fight. And he just like, oh, do I really? And just hit the biggest guy down first. And then everything else was just magic for him.
There you go. Amit says we need a video recreation of Sifu Larry's fight. If we can get 4 people that are willing to get their butts whooped by him, I'll let you know, Amit. If you want to volunteer, come on down, brother. Okay?
You can be the biggest guy.
Well, we'll have to get someone bigger, because for those of you who don't admit, he's probably about my size. Amit's like, we need a recreation video. So I told him, he says, I'll be the guy who runs. He says that's what I'll be.
Yeah, run to him, not away from him, because that's defensive if you do.
Hey Pam, glad to have you on. All right, so Sifu sent over, or Ken says, what kind of training can he do, or she, I'm not sure, for improving Qi?
Qigong exercises. Qi is all about learning how to breathe and connect the body in movement. So anything really you could do. There's lots of Qigong exercises out there. You can actually develop your own as long as you follow the principles. It's all about understanding the principles and then format it however you want it. So the rules that we have, highest heaven, lowest earth, back open, chest closed, the bows and the body, all these things. If you do it, you could make your own Qigong. Qigong is repetitive, so it's designed to do the kind of same repetition over and over, and learn how to control the breathing in that while keeping that state of relaxation. So any type of movement that you do, as long as you adhere to the rules and principles, is a Qigong.
There you go. Dominic says, I'm considering attending a local Wing Chun school because it's very close. I'm a little conflicted though, because I don't want to train the wrong thing. I hope that if I can keep training from Enter Shaolin at home and also come see you whenever I can still benefit from attending a school close by. What are your thoughts on learning from another Sifu class while continuing to focus on NDN?
That depends on the teacher. I mean, some teachers are very open-minded. Some people are very closed-minded. They get offended if you go to another school. Some people are like, hey, I don't care as long as, it helps you become better. That's going to depend. In terms of what they teach, if I had students who attend other schools and the teachers tell them, no, you can't do it that way. It doesn't work that way. And they're telling them, you got to do it this way. And it conflicts with what I say in the energy. And, they had to make the choice of leaving school or sticking to the training. And, and they would test it out and say, listen, but this works. The other one doesn't. The other one I have a hard time because the guy's too big, too strong. And this one here, I can handle it. And they'll be like, no, you just got to move faster. You got to move strong. And so it depends on the teacher. I mean, for me, if somebody wants to learn another style, go do it. I'm not here to try and tell you have to fight my way, because everybody has a certain way of moving, certain way of fighting. You have to find your own path. Like any good martial artist say, you got to find your own path to what you want as a martial artist. And so I let the students go and do what they want to do. And they always find that they use my system to enhance what they do. And that's fine. Your system, your style has to become you. You can take whatever you want to help it, but as long as you can make it grow and make it work for you, and you can pass along to someone and improve. That's what styles are all about. They always get better if people are open-minded and willing to accept changes and understand that if this doesn't work, don't stick to it. And if it doesn't work and it works for someone else, then you have to see what it is you're doing wrong, or you're not learning to control energy, you learn to fight energy. You're pushing rather than turning. You have to adhere to these principles. Science is science, and I always say, listen, stick to the science, stick to the principles, because these principles are fact. They're not theories, okay? They're not theory formulas. That they are, physics. They are facts. They are, for every action there's an opposite reaction. That's physics. It's natural. The nature of energy, once you go past what it says, you need to adhere to these principles in your martial arts, and it'll help you. That's one of the things my Tai Chi teacher that a long time ago told me, that really one of those eye opener for me, is like, don't worry about how people move in terms of what order, or if I do Yang style, Chen style, Wu style, it doesn't matter. What matters is it's adhering to the principle, and that's what's going to make the difference. And so, that's why I have a lot of principle sayings, and then I have a lot of rhyming principles, a lot of acronyms and stuff like that, because these are the principles that I always want people to adhere to, because it works. These are the science parts of it. It makes people easy to run. 3 proof is foolproof. These are the science. I can show you through the science and why that works so well. And it's not like, oh, it's because I believe it works so good because it moves fast and it's powerful. Like, why? What makes it powerful? What makes it fast? What makes it effective? What makes it efficient? You can't just say it's because it's fast, it works. Great. That's why you want to do that. I've learned Wing Chun. This is better because it's more efficient. Well, say that to a boxer who punches like this and knocks 1,000 people out. It's not necessarily true. Why is this a preferable punch over this one? Because it's more relaxed. It takes less energy. These are the things. But this punch can knock a guy out just as quick as this can. But why does this a preferred way of Wing Chun? Because in their theory is this is the natural way the body, the hands are. When you bring your hands up from here, this is the natural position of your hands. But it shouldn't be the only, because you do torque your body, you do turn, and you can turn your wrist to make the projection. So you shouldn't adhere and just say this is the only way. If you do, then you're closing your mind off to other possibilities. And when you face styles that are not what you do, and you never train how to handle it because you think it's stupid, that's why you get beat up, because you never learn how to handle it, because you never even trained against it. You don't understand it. You want to understand energy. You want to understand how every strike works. You want to understand how every lock works. You understand how every kick works and how spacing and time. You want to understand all that. The better you're informed with it, the better you can learn how to deal with it. But if you're like, well, a hook punch is stupid because it takes too long because a straight line is better. Well, you know what? A lot of Wing Chun guys get knocked out from hook punches. Because you know why? Because they don't train for hook punches. Because they think it's stupid, so they never train. So when somebody throws a punch, they've never seen it. Like, what's that? Bam! That was what knocked you out. That's what that was. But because you need to be all around and understand all kinds of energy. You need to feel it. You need to deal with it. You need to know how to control it. You need to know all that stuff. And that's why, it's very good to understand energy. And that's what we're all about. We're about energy. We're about understanding the control. That's why I break down everything in the science of it. And when people are like, well, how come this doesn't work? When people tell me and they give me messages like, I had somebody grip my wrist and I couldn't do it. I felt the energy. He was so strong. And I said, listen. And I said, without seeing you, with just by hearing, I could tell what he does wrong. And I give him the answer like, wow, it worked. They would take what I said and they did it. And it was like, wow, I didn't realize. How did you know? Because I understand energy. It's all about understanding energy. And no matter what it is, it'll always work. Every move has a counter move. Okay. Every counter move has a counter to that, and every counter has a counter to that. It's a question of it can be countered because you know how to. That's the limitation.
Yeah. Dominic also said, let's see, let me scroll up. I lost it. He says, I hope to still learn NDN. You're going to still learn it as long as you want to learn it. We ain't going nowhere. But almost use the school local to get access to live energy training every week. We have lots of people that do that. It's all good. He said, I guess I'll have to see if the teacher is open-minded with me training slightly differently from what they teach. That's really what it comes down to.
When you go in there, go straight up and honest. Say, listen, I'm training this style. I'd like to learn and have a place where I can have other people train with. Is it possible I can train with you and still do what I do? If he's cool with it, that's fine. If he's like, nah, who are you learning from? Most people, if they are kind of egotistical, they're going to first go, well, who you learn from and what are you going, because they're going to see who that person is, and they're going to like, because, honestly, it's true for most teachers, they don't want to feel like what they're doing is inferior or waste of time. Like they don't want to think that, because then they're like, well, why am I teaching this if I don't believe it's good? If it shows like this guy's technique is overdoing mine, they're going to feel like, why am I going to show this? They're going to feel like they never want to go work with that guy because they want him to show him off. So it's going to come down to the teacher.
Yeah.
And I want to teach it. And if, as long as you sit there and you work with him and says, I want you to do it this way, say, okay, don't argue with him. It's his school. It's his class. Just work with him. And if it's something where it's like contradictory to what you believe, then don't go there no more, because obviously he's got an ego. He's not trying to be open-minded, and he's gonna make it. And he might make a mark out of you and go, okay, I'm gonna do a technique, and he's gonna pick you and try to make you look stupid for everybody, because he's got to prove that what he does is good. So if he's that kind of guy, then I wouldn't learn from him. He's all about the ego.
Yeah. So just, go talk with them, be honest, and just go from there. And hopefully it'll be a good fit for you. Amit says that he also does the same thing. He goes, I practice without letting anyone know what he's doing. They'll know when they feel the energy and something has changed. It's an option. All right. Dominic says that was his thinking, although I've already contacted Sifu to see if he's open to it. He says that they have people from lots of styles in the school, so I am hopeful. Awesome. So hopefully that'll work out good. Keep us posted, though. We're interested in finding out how that goes. Sifu Larry sent over from Rack On Studios. I just got here, so not sure if it's already been asked, but is there a style that is a good counter to Wing Chun? Because I saw a video on Mantis Kung Fu, and it seemed to work around the Wing Chun techniques.
Any style can beat another style. It comes down to the practitioner, how well they're trained to do. The main thing, about anything is speed and power. I always say, when you break it down to it, it's what you give, what you can take. You can have a guy who has no training, and he could take a lot of beating and give a lot. So he might take a hit and just pound you down. He has no style, but yet he can do it. Like this person I was with in Israel, he's one of those guys. He was able to take a beating, but he would take it, grab a guy, and put him a lock and choke him, even though he didn't really train in martial arts. She said he had a lot of martial arts challenge him, because he's, I don't know why, he was a big guy. I guess because I'm a big guy, but he took the hits. He came, grabbed them, and once he grabbed them, they didn't know what to do from the hold. And he said I would choke him out, and that was the end of it. And he really didn't have a respect for martial arts until he met me, because everything he did, it didn't work. All the grabbing, I said, just grab me, take me, throw me, choke me. I let him choke me, and he couldn't choke me. I got out of it. He grabbed my wrist, and I just countered him. And again, he's like 6'2", 6'3". He was like a monster. I was like, man, you're like a bear. I don't want you to touch me. You're scary. But again, it comes down to the person, because you can look on YouTube, you can see Wing Chun guy beat a karate guy beat a Wing Chun guy, jiu-jitsu guy beat a judo guy beats a jiu-jitsu guy. Wing Chun lose to a judo guy, Wing Chun beat a judo guy. It comes down to the person. And styles can make a difference in terms of, it can give you a slight tilt, but it comes down to you, your heart, your ability to learn how to move, learning how the right training. And, again, it comes down to the teacher as well. Is he teaching you to muscle through this, or is he teaching you how to move around this? Is he teaching how to channel the energy? Is he teaching how to fight the energy? Is his theory is just step forward and come in hard at him? Just if he comes at you hard, you come at him harder. Those are bad things. Trying to use force against someone who's twice your size is not the key. Okay, you got to find the way to deal with someone much stronger than you. And that's about then understanding energy and manipulating the energy.
Yep. Amit also says that his local Sifu respects NDN and Sifu Phu and has come to see Sifu Phu twice. That is awesome. That's really cool. So Melanie says, do you have any advice on getting bruises to go away faster?
There's medication that the Chinese have.
The Da Jiao.
Yeah, that helps. I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't know. But personally, like if you are bruised, like just make sure that you're not hitting it. Bruise is just basically broken capillaries. So it means that you're damaged, so don't hit that part again. Make sure that you just give yourself time and rest. Heat and ice is always good. Heat for the blood circulation, ice to stop if there's any swelling. If there's no swelling, then you don't have to worry about it. But rubbing, I find that always helps. Every time
Yeah.
I'm hurt, I rub
And
my arms.
apply like chi into it while you're rubbing it. Don't
Yes.
just go like on surface level. You want to.
Yeah, I always feel the heat in my hands. I get the heat in my hands, and I just kind of give it a few inches away, and then I bring it closer, and I get my hands warmer, and it helps me to heal fast. I don't bruise as easy, but that's because of the years of training. My bones.
Yeah,
are
they
very
say over
dense.
time
Yeah.
you'll bruise less. And as far as the jiao goes, I am working on a recipe. I got to get a bunch of herbs together and start practicing because I want to make our own one. Basically because I found that the ones that you can buy online are really watered down and they're not very effective. So I want to create something for our family. So that is something that is in the works. But arnica cream is also something good that helps with bruises. That's something you can get at pretty much most stores. So hopefully that helps. But for me, mostly I don't worry about putting creams or anything like that. I just do what you were talking about. I send chi in, I do some rubbing occasionally and just make sure not to re-injure it as much as possible. And it'll go away pretty fast. And over time, if you do bone conditioning, Melody, I don't know if you are, you're going to get bruised less, and less. So hopefully that helps. And Sifu sent over from Nob C. What is chi in your words?
Well, chi has many definitions. Basically, it means like air, and that's how we get our energy. We use the air and we put pressure in our body. So we use our diaphragm, we use our core, and we put pressure in that air. That pressure in the air allows us to emit the energy out of our body. Combine it with the rooting and the sinking, and then the torquing with the wrist. That's how you're going to get your energy out. Chi is just really air. That's all it is. It's breathing.
Yep.
Proper breathing.
Melanie says she's gonna have to do more of the conditioning. Yes, more conditioning, the less that those bruises are gonna happen. I used to get bruised pretty easily when I first started, but now I don't. It's very rare. Like if I get bruised, I'm like, man, that was a really good hit. So, but yeah, and even now my bruises go away a lot faster. Another thing is your diet too, Melanie. I noticed when my diet wasn't as good as it is now and it wasn't as clean, it took longer for my bruises to go away. Now they go away really fast. So that's something else to look into. Melanie says, can you elaborate on applying chi?
What do you mean applying chi in your life and your martial arts? Like, what do you mean by applying chi? Chi is basically your breathing, okay? And breathing is controlled in your posture. So, like this, I breathe hard if I do that. So posturing your body is very important to create that and knowing how to.
Oh, with help with healing. That's what you want to say.
Okay. When you have like a bruise or an injury, relax the body, let the blood flow in your hands, get the energy in your arms, and then create and feel the heat. You can start to feel the heat. The more blood flow you have, the more heat you're going to get out of your hands. And then you can take that and you can start putting it on areas and start moving to the direction of your chi flow to help you. In terms of how to get chi up, you got to do your Qigong, you got to do your Tai Chi. They'll help you to do that. But breathing is the key in learning how to create your chi and create your healing too. So by relaxing and then just focusing on relaxing. Like yoga has all that's a form of chi breathing. Yoga is a great example of that with the body and the energy, and Tai Chi is the other, the Nikong, the Qigong, all that. Any soft style really that teaches you how to breathe and control your body is a great way of developing the chi.
The Chinese say that the mind moves the chi, and I read that in Tai Chi classics. I forget which one, but I read it.
And it does.
And I thought about that. And if everything that you learn, every skill set or everything that you acquire is because you create the pathway in your brain for it to exist. Everybody has chi, but until you start creating the pathway in your brain, you can't do anything with it. Like Sifu was saying, Qigong starts to build up the manifestation of that energy, whereas Nigong will help you move it really from places to places in your body. So what's always been there, you'll start to notice more as you practice your Qigong.
You're controlling it. You learn how to harness it and you learn how to control it.
Okay, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And another thing is you'll be able to do that with someone else, because that's what I do when I work on Sifu Larry or his wife or my daughter or even myself. Is you can pull out, like if you feel like blockages of energy, you can remove them. You can put good energy in. So even like with the bruises, I might
Reiki is an example.
Yeah, that's a
energy
good
control.
example of one. I don't actually study that, but I've always naturally been able to have healing hands. And with my Tai Chi and my Qigong and everything like that, I've been able to harness that more and understand it more. And so now I have better control of it. But now instead of thinking, I guess that whole thinking, stinking thing, I don't have to think about it when I'm healing someone. I just let my hands and stuff, I go on autopilot. My brain kind of just chills out. I don't think about anything, and I'm able to find exactly where the pain is. I'm able to pull it out. I'm able to put the good energy in to help it heal and all that different stuff. So it's just practice. But yeah, Reiki is a great example of how to do that and find a science to that, and be able to practice that if you're interested. Karthik says, is the pathway being referred called a meridian or other term? Yes, meridian lines is definitely a big part of what you work on through that, but there could be blockages that are outside of those meridian lines as well. But yeah, that's the main central system of that. He says, I see in Tai Chi class, my Sifu says the heart meridian. Yep. Christopher Lopez says, hi, everyone. Hey, Christopher. Sifu, could you demo a simple application with chain punches, and how do you pronounce your last name?
First off, my last name is Ngo. You use the back of your tongue, raise it to the roof of the mouth, Nga, 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 and O. Nga, Nga, O. That's how you say my last name. In terms of the chain punches, I can show you one of the best defenses. Chain punches to the face isn't effective because as soon as you hit someone in the face, if you do it right, they're going to move away. So to repeat a chain punch to the face is just not effective, especially if you do a first blast on them. They're going to move and you can't follow. What you'll wind up doing is if I hit her face moves away, face, I'm going to wind up reaching and chasing, and that's not really good. Chain punches to me, it works best in combinations like to the body, to the face, and the body. So if she's like pushing, here's an example of a good effective chain punch. Don't make sure your head don't go because this is gonna pull your hands. Okay. So if she's pushing me, let's go here, and she gives me a push. This is where chain punches will work. I can bring my arms up to the center. I took her arms down so she can't protect herself as quick. So here I'm going like this. Now I get the punch. From here, I hit the body because I want her to come back. Because if I hit her face, she's going to move away. If I'm doing this, I'm going to wind up walking and chasing. I don't want her to do that. So chain punches works best when you can create like here, hit the head, hit the body. Because now she's going to do what? Come forward with her body this way. Because once I hit this, her body buckles down. Then I can hit. Chain punches are great if you can take the hands away and then clear the path. But when someone's hands are up, chain punches are ineffective. They don't work because all the guy's going to do, especially if he's like a boxer, he's trained, he's going to cut the angle and come right back in because you're leaving your arms out and you're starting to chase and you're losing your protection in here. You're constantly doing this. And it works great if someone's like, whoa, 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 whoa. But to a boxer, to a guy who's trained in how to deal with forward energy a lot, all he's going to do is going to step back far enough so you're out of reach. He's going to wait for you to commit to throw that. He's going to move to the side and come in if you're just following through with chain punches. They work best when you can isolate the arms, take it down. She's punching me in the face. I go here. Now I can start. See how I'll do slow. So now if I'm like this, here, I get her, I pull her in. Now I can start doing that because I took her side, I turned her body, then I would throw a couple. Chain punches should not be 10, 15. Okay, if it took you 10, 15 punches to take a guy down, you're off in your power. Right. You should be doing it with the first 1 to 2, maximum 3. You know, I always say there's a 3-hit rule: stun them, break them, take them. First one, maybe stun them. Second one takes away any defense, and the third one should take them down. If you're not getting them by the 3, you're doing it wrong somehow. So stun them, break them, take them.
There you go. Good stuff. Terry says, I don't have a training partner. How much would a wooden dummy help? And also how much help would training, training being the Wing Chun rain trainer, for those of you that don't know what that's from. So you just want to know how much will that help?
When I was in college, my partner was a dummy. And I would hit that thing like 4 or 5 hours a day. And so sometimes I hit it so late at night. I had a guy who next door to my door, knocked on the door. I was like, dude, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got a test in the morning. Could you just not have to hit that thing? I was like, sorry, man. You know, I would train my partner with the jong. And I refined my movements. I refined my techniques. And that's what I did all the time. And I learned how to control my movements in my hands. And I focused on that a lot. I focused on now bringing my hands up, making sure that my hands are where they need to be and not just like throwing hard. I never focused on how to hit hard. because it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of force, and I knew not to do that. I knew how to hit the point, so when I hit, I focus on hitting right to where I want it. So it was never like my hands don't do this, like that means I didn't hit my point. It means I was trying to overcome that point. This says I know how to hit point. So when I bring my hands, I know how to hit exactly where I want to hit, which entails timing. That's your timing. That's what we train for, and the control. So those are very important factors. When you're training by yourself, you can develop timing, which is like boxers use speed bags. They use all. That's great for timing. Learn how to hit the jong and hitting to the point, creating space and distance, moving away, moving in, moving out, knowing how to cut the angle and make sure you maintain. These are all timing control techniques, and the jong was a great partner for me. And I also did a lot of self-training, just practicing my wrist control, like doing this. So you can see I did a lot of like this, like just making sure I stayed within my frame, made sure that I brought my arm up, it would stay inside. So you can see like 3D, right? So you can see I'm inside my frame. I never did this where I look like I'm pushing out from my shoulders. I made sure I focused on my wrist. I made sure my elbow was down. I made sure I didn't throw from my shoulders, but I drove from my shoulders to my elbow. I made sure that all those techniques that I did was become natural, instinctive, where it wasn't forced. It wasn't something I had to think about to do. It became natural for me to do. And the ring is this, okay? And the ring is good. Now, I practice more on the dummy than I practice in the ring. The ring is comfortable, for example, like teaching you how to maintain your spacing, like I talked about, maintaining my control like this and know how to do this. So you can see, even though I don't have the ring, I still, from practice, know how muscle memory. So when I do this, I know how to connect my energy. So when I'm moving, I knew how to move together. So without the ring, I could still do the same. Like it'll see, it looks like I'm still moving the same, where I kept the energy in my hands. I did not let it feel like it was going towards my elbow. So you can see if I'm doing like this, you can see it's pulling and escaping me. Whereas if I do this, you can see it's moving together as one. I learned how to maintain it in the wrist. I focus a lot on my techniques because in my ebook, I talk about, the 3 legs of training, your physical, your technique, and your sensitivity. Sensitivity, you need a partner. Physicality, you can learn on your own too. But understand that your technique is the core to both your physical and your sensitivity. So if you have a ring here, and let's call that your physical, another ring here links to that, your technique, and then another ring here links to that one, and that's your sensitivity. Your technique links both your physical and your sensitivity. Your sensitivity and your physicality don't link to each other. They share to each other through the technique. So your technique is probably the most important training you can have, because that's going to basically optimize your performance, at the same time handle pressure from what your body feels to the sensitivity. So your technique is very, very important to do.
Absolutely. He also said that he said thank you very much. I was like, can't get enough of your videos. Well, thank you, because there's gonna be a lot more videos to come. All right, so Sifu sent from, yes, God willing, that's true. Don't go anywhere yet. Okay. Bhavni Singh says, what do you think went wrong for Conor McGregor during the money fight with Floyd Mayweather?
Simple. He ran out of gas. He's not used to fighting 12 rounds. He did exactly what I was telling every of my students. Like, Mayweather can respect his power and wouldn't want to get hit with him in the first, 4 or 5 rounds, because that's what he's used to. And if you saw the fight, you saw Mayweather, in the first 3 rounds, they said he only threw like 60 punches, because he didn't want to waste his gas. He protected himself, dodged, let him burn himself out. And you saw the tide change. The first 5 rounds, you saw he aggressed a few times, tagged him here and there, but he stayed back, mostly avoided, got away, And then by the 8th round, you could see him running out of gas and running out of juice. And by the 9th round, his hands from here at the beginning to here to like this, he just ran out of gas. But I think if Conor McGregor had a rematch with him, I think he would do a lot better, and he might have a pretty good chance of beating him. Now he understands how he fights, and he understands what he's doing. I think he would have paced himself better. He would work himself out to say, listen, I'm not going to try and knock him out within the first 4 or 5 rounds, like he said he was. He would have paced himself and said, listen, I'm going to work on getting those hits. I'm not going to waste like I did the first time. He's probably going to go in, try tag and get a tag and come out and do the same thing Mayweather does. But I think in the end, McGregor does have the better power hit. He wasted it all missing in the beginning, just trying to hit him. Ran out of gas, and then Mayweather was like, listen, from his experience, I know he doesn't have it. I'll still take his shots, and I'm still going to come in power, and I'll change blows, and I'm going to do more damage to him than he does to me. And that's what he did. They stopped the fight. And, you know, if he didn't, Conor McGregor would have went down. He didn't last the 10th round, and if he survived, the 11th round would have been over for him.
Right. And I also think that you also have to take into consideration if Mayweather had to go fight with McGregor on his
There would be no
terms-
fight. There would nobody watching because they would say Mayweather has no chance because you're talking about totally different.
Yeah. So when
You're
put
talking about
someone-
limiting
right.
UFC into this.
Right.
Versus Mayweather having to expand.
Right. And then
So-
in this case, you know, McGregor was going into Mayweather's territory and having to restrain himself from the things he's used to doing. And, you know,
And for, like I said,
Mayweather's
for all intents and purposes, it was
master
Conor
what he
McGregor
does,
who
you
went
know what
after
I mean?
Mayweather, so he had to agree to his terms. Mayweather didn't go after Conor McGregor.
and this is
Conor
all
McGregor went after
speculation if it wasn't already rigged in the first place. Because I think it's all fake. anyways.
Just remember this. It was all about the money. They're
It's all
friends.
about them.
They did the whole
So-
hype for the money. I mean,
Yeah.
they both won in the end. Both got lots and lots of money out of it.
The marketing behind it was actually quite genius.
Yeah, they
I'll
made
say
a lot
that.
of money. It was a good fight, but honestly, I knew Conor McGregor had no chance, and not because of he couldn't fight, because he wasn't allowed to fight.
Right.
He had to fight specifically forward punches this way, no downward strike. You saw he did downward strikes instinctively. He went to grab him, hold him, which you're not allowed to do in boxing. That's why Mayweather started turning his back. That was his answer to when he grabs me and I can't handle, I'm going to turn. I'm not going to let him hit me that way. And he knew he used the advantage of the rules. Can't hit me while my back is turned. Whereas in UFC, you turn your back, he'll suplex you over. You know, you can't do that in boxing, so he doesn't have to worry about it. So he used the rules to his advantage, and he knew how to win.
Out that. Billy says, "Hi everyone. Can Sifu please elaborate on proper Wing Chun stance when doing Silent Town?"
So just the form.
Yes.
Basically, it's a horse stance. Now you can have two people have different versions, okay? And personally, I like the way we do it. Okay, so the two ways you want to have it is a horse stance is basically about the width of your shoulders. Your feet should point straight, knees forward and in slightly to where your feet feel flat on both sides. So this is represent my. I don't want it swaying to the outside. I want it to feel like I'm down. So I'm solid and rooted to the floor. Okay, your hips should turn forward a little bit. And the reason why you want to do this is you want to develop that solid, strong core. So when you're moving, you're getting the energy from the ground up into your hands. You don't want to feel like you have to throw your hands. You want to feel like it's driving from the ground to your hands. The other version that they have, and you see this in other Wing Chun systems, they turn the feet in 45 degrees hard, and they stand like this. Now, I don't like that as much because if you look at the hips between a man and woman, woman's hips are a little bit wider and they're a little bit more on a curve. They allow them to turn in. So it's much more natural. For a guy, it's not. It's not as comfortable. It's strenuous on the knees. And I find that when I did that a long time ago, it does strain the knees. And honestly,
You're talking about
the pigeon toed. Yeah, the pigeon toed.
Yep. Another thing
It-
is that's kind of outdated. I mean,
It's-
I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's really meant for women when they were wearing those really tight Chinese dresses and stuff where they
Yes.
couldn't really move. So
That's-
for me personally, I prefer dresses that I can move in because if I want to kick someone's butt, I want to kick their butt.
The reason why that you have Wing Chun turn her toes in and stand like this is because back in the days, women wore dresses that went down to their knees and there would be a slit from their knee down. So they weren't able to move long, wide stances. They had to learn to move in tight, which is why Wing Chun system was like this. And then they moved like this because they couldn't stand like this because the dress didn't allow them. So they had to make their stances small. They had to keep it tight. They had to make it in pigeon-toed in for their knees because they could not let their knees come out further because of the dress. That was mainly the reason why you have today the people who stick to the pigeon toe. Back then, Wing Chun did that because of the clothing she wore, not because of style. The people who wore pants, they could go straight. That's because their legs were allowed to go out wider. But when they wore dresses, they couldn't bring it out that wide. So to compensate being so tight, they had to turn the toes in to compensate for the knees not being go out. So that's really the main reason. But come on, you well enough. You were pigeon-toed. You can't. You take a boxer's footwork and compare it to a Wing Chun tight foot. Boxer's going to out footwork him every time. He's going to be able to move much better. He's more free. He's more to bounce. He's able to get better footwork out of it. You could not. You'd have to be very stationary and go forward. in Wing Chun, like if you're standing, everything is for you. It's very tight, moving this way, very tight, and moving like this, and moving. And you could not move like that to a guy who's free in his footwork when he could bounce, which is what Bruce Lee took that over the Wing Chun footwork, because he found he was able to get energy, and you could go from like this to a quick snap, because you can push off the ground from the bounce. You can drive your front ball and heel into it. You have much better footwork in that. Boxing footwork has more freedom, whereas Wing Chun is more restrictive. In a lot of the Wing Chun people who do the pinch, it's very restrictive. And honestly, it can work against another Wing Chun person because you're both playing on the same game. You're not going to do that against an MMA guy today. He's going to kick your legs. He's going to move in and out. He's going to bum rush you, and it's over for you. Playing in tight makes you rigid in your feet. You got to have freedom in your feet, because your feet is what's going to allow you to adjust for spacing. If someone came in, it allows you to move back, allows you to advance. If you're very tight, it's very hard. You move very little. And someone who shoots in hard, you can't move back fast enough, or you can't come to the side hard enough. You need something to sustain for the ability to root and sink. So if you're very tight and you can't move to adjust to that and move fast enough, you're going to be like this and move like this. It's not going to work. It's like trying to take a fencer and fight a wrestler, and the guy's fence is only using his hands, not a weapon. But having the footwork of a fencer and having a guy who wrestles, that wrestle gets that grab. Oh, actually, that's a bad example, because a fencer's footwork is actually bigger. So that's a bad example. Scratch that. How can I say it? Like, it's like taking someone who moves very, very tight with their feet. What style would do that? Well, whatever. I can't think of one right now. But you cannot have someone who's very tight and rigid and limited in his movement to someone who's freedom to move. He's going to cut angles. He's going to shoot in, move out much faster than you could ever do it. Wing Chun, that type of, is designed for people to fight close quarter. Today's combat is not about the close quarter. It's about getting the angles, moving in tight, and going for the grab. And so it's a different fight. You know, styles changes because people way of fighting changes. That's why Bruce Lee changed his way of thinking, because he said the mindset of the Chinese way of fighting and the Americans way of fighting is Chinese like to fight close and stick in. Americans like to stay away. And so he found it very hard to adapt to. That's why he wrote this book on how to kick out the legs and close in the distance, because they would keep the distance. So he found that it was very hard to get in on them, because they wouldn't engage. They would stay back, tag, and move away, and do that. And then once they saw your hands break down, or your stances, or your structure, then they come in. But footwork in terms of how you plant your feet is very important, because you need to adapt to change quick. Today's types of fighters, especially MMA today, they're in and out, moving in. You see it all the time. You see people moving in and out, trying to feel each other. If you're standing like this, if you're just moving like this, all he's going to do is wait for you to just plant your foot one time and come in, and you're not going to move backwards fast enough. You're going to get clocked in the face quick and easy. You have to have the ability to be mobile. You have to have the ability to push from your front ball to your heel very, very quickly to adapt to change. If you're not, you're probably going to get eaten real quick. I've seen the Wing Chun guys fight like this against a boxer, and the boxer just wait, and he just wham, moved in quick, and the guy couldn't react fast enough because he was too rigid, too solid, which is what Bruce Lee said. It's too rigid. And the systems of some Wing Chun, not say all, because I can't answer for all Wing Chun, but some of the most of the Wing Chun, the people who like to stick and stay tight and move like this very tight, you're never going to win against someone who's going to burst the speed at you. You're not going to move fast enough. There's no way. You're just going to get clocked.
So you need to be adaptive.
Yes, you need to have the ability to adapt. You want to have the ability to really, the key of doing footwork is have a good core and know how to turn your hips with the front ball and the heel at the same time. Because they're your brakes and they're your acceleration between the heel and the front ball. And then your core is a connection between the 2 feet and the balance in your body.
There you go. Sifu Phu Ngo sent over from Linus Fancy. Could you demonstrate Fajing and give some tips?
Fajing is the winding of the body. So basically, if I did this, this is Fajing. If I'm here, this is like a Fajing. So you can see my body move here. So this is Fajing. Fajing is taking the energy in one direction using curve and then driving to another. So it's kind of like if something came at you 100 miles an hour and there was a pole and then you would rapidly turn and come back. That's like how Fajing would work, using the arc to return energy. So if I'm like this, I can do this. So if she gave me a punch, she swings to my head, she don't swing. So she's like this, you see that? This is Fajing. So you can see my hand go up and turn. So using this technique, it can come in on her very, very quickly. This is Fajing. She punches me straight, let's say. I can do this, push it into me. this is Fa Jing. So you can see I convert her energy and move in on that. That's Fa Jing. She throws the hook punch. I can use this. That's a Fa Jing. So you can see I'm winding up and I'm going to turn. So as I turn this energy this way, it doesn't have to return this way. I could, but I can also use it to turn this way. So if she's giving me any type of punch, but I can use this. So you can see what I'm doing. You can see I'm absorbing. I can move the energy.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay. Fa Jing is about being able to create different ways of strike. You see, punch it, boom, and this you can see I'm turning my energy. You can see I'm going up and turning. So if we do it slower, you can see I'm going to go like this. So you can see my energy. So if she had both hands up, it doesn't matter. I'm able to turn this energy. I'm going. So anything that I hit automatically kind of pops it and then turns it back into the person. The Fa Jing is a great tool. It's very powerful. It doesn't take a lot of energy. It takes a lot of control to create it. It's very, burst. It's accelerated. It uses a lot in the wrist. Okay, a lot of people think it's from the body. The body helps perpetuate the energy to the wrist because your wrist is your control in the end. Without that wrist, this is what Fa Jing looks like without the wrist. This is what Fa Jing looks like with the wrist. And you can kind of see, it's like the end of a whip. You need that little snap to get that power to create the crack. That end of the crack is like your wrist. It is what allows you to get all the energy out to it. And the job of the wrist is turn to point. So even though I get my energy like this in my wrist, like you can see it, if she had her arm up like this, I could turn that energy like this, and instead I could turn it. So now I can turn to point. So I can turn to point like this and make my hand hit whatever. So if she's punching me, I can, and you can see I'm just turning her arm. So you can see I'm just, and again, I just use that control of my wrist to create the torque. Your wrist controls direction and your energy. Your arms creates the power for the wrist so it can turn. This is why the 3-proof works the way it works. And Fa Jing is that.
And I'll just do a little friendly reminder, when you are working with a partner or in a fight, make sure that your mouth is shut and your tongue is against the top of your mouth.
I think she just bit it.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Tongue.
No, I purposely, no, but
It's
in
a
that
joke,
one
it's a
where you
joke.
hit me here, if I would have not done that, it would have really hurt. That's why I wanted to say that. So make sure that you guys and gals are making sure not to bite that tongue off. Okay. All right. So Billy says, thank you for the explanation, Sifu. I'm very glad that we don't do the pigeon toe version. It always hurts my knees.
That's why I don't do it, because it's stressful
Yeah,
on the knees.
it
Because
is.
your hips aren't made to do that as a guy. For girls, it's more comfortable because hips are more wider and more round. It's more natural for them to turn in, but not for guys.
But it's still not that comfortable. I'm not going to lie. I've tried it before. Sifu Larry sent over from Black Hole. I saw some videos of DKU about Cham Jang Gong. Could you elaborate about that?
I don't know what he means. I don't know what.
We'd have to
Cham
see
Jang
the
Gong.
video.
I know who
So-
DK Yo is. He's supposed to be that Korean guy who does Systema. But I don't know what he means by Cham Jang Jong or Gong.
So Black Hole, if you want us to take a look at the video and we can look at it and check it out and say something about next week on our next one, send it over to support@entershaolin.com and then we'll have a commentary about it for you. All right. Let's see. Jason Thomas says, what's that? I know it is.
Yeah.
Like, do you have time?
No,
to go?
I'm fine.
All right.
I'm just saying.
I wanted to try to. So anyone that's on Facebook or YouTube, no more questions, please, because we still have a couple more from the past couple weeks through our emails that I want to get through. But we will be back at the same time next week. So please do come back and ask your questions then.
Or email us.
Yep, email us at support@entershaolin.com and let us know that it's a question for the next webinar and we'll take care of you. So Jason says, I have a question regarding the best ways to positively influence children's development with martial arts, Tai Chi, relaxation, etc.
Okay, what's the question?
How to?
I have a question regarding the best ways to
Yeah.
positively influence. One, set an example.
Yes.
Be an example to them. Okay. What defines a character? What is a character? The definition of character. Character is what you say to what you do. That's what defines a character. So if you say a certain thing and you live that defines your character. If someone says, hey, can you pick me up at 12? You say, nah, I don't. Why? Because I'm lazy and I'm a bum, and you don't. That's your character. You can't say anything that you're a bad character. You're true to your character. If you say, yeah, I'll be there. I'm always there for you, my friend, and he doesn't show up. And it's like, what? That's a bad character. So set an example, lead by that. I teach children too. And I'm always trying to be positive. I always speak positive. Martial arts isn't about fighting, you know, it's about developing oneself to control and handle things in life, you know, especially in today's life. So be there for them. As a teacher, you want to be there for them. You want to know that they can talk to you and you help them out best you can in terms of teaching martial arts. You teach them, for me, I teach all my students how to control. The more they control themselves and control the energy, the more confident they are at handling what's outside, because if anything comes at them, they'll know how to handle it. You know, it's better that one man has 1,000 problems to handle every day than a man has one problem not be able to handle it at all. So it doesn't matter about what comes at life, it's about how you handle life. And the best thing is to teach them how to handle that, you know, and be the example for them, be there for them, be involved in their life, make sure that, you know, hey, everything okay? You know, if they need to talk. I have a lot of students talk to me. I'm not just a teacher, I'm a psychologist. You know, they talk, they trust me because I'm a character that they learn to value and trust. So it is something that you want to be as a teacher. You want to be an inspiration to them and lead by example.
Absolutely. That's it. And then if you're talking about your personal children and stuff, just, like when you're training and stuff, invite them to come watch or say, hey, do you want to try this and stuff like that. Eventually they're going to be interested in it, but don't force them to do stuff because then it's not going to work out so great. But over time, their interest will build. That's what I've been finding with my own daughter. As time goes on, her interest peaks a little bit more and she'll do a little bit more with me. And I know over time that she's just gonna be more and more interested. So just take your time and be a great example. Bobulet says, Sifu, can you please make some training videos regarding standing meditation postures, as I am led to believe that this type of training is integral for gaining mighty internal power and strength within the body.
No. Next. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we can do that. We have, like I said, Qigong. It's like a standing meditation. We have some of those videos up.
That's under Qigong.
Yes, under Qigong. So all those things are there. They're all standing meditation. They're moving. There's no such thing as non-moving meditation. You want to have some movement because your chi will flow, and you want to keep the body moving to help flow that energy. So if you're just like, even your breathing in and out is supposed to help you. That there's always movement one way or another. You want to have movement because you want to direct that energy, whether it be physical or mental or both. You want to have the ability to move that chi. It's not about just collecting chi and gaining chi. You got to learn how to direct that chi, and that's the control.
Yeah, so go check out the Qigong section in the training hall, and you will find that there. All right, so let's see here. Let's answer Vivek. Vivek says, hi, Sifu Phu. Please show me some tendon exercises of arm and legs to improve speed and how to develop strong tendons. We have a whole section on that also in the training hall.
Actually, I did that with the last couple webinars ago.
Yep.
We talked about developing the tendons. Okay.
But also in the core training section, tons of stuff to build and work the tendons.
Yes. Tendons is just maintaining that pressure, constant pressure, and learn. So I did this a couple webinars ago. But do a low horse stance. The easiest thing is just do a low horse stance. Put your hands together like you're praying. Keep your level and just push your core, push your hands and hold that posture and push the air. Compress your body real hard, and that's one of the best, like, fast overall body tendon exercises that you can do.
Yeah, and it'll help with your speed. It's going to help with your tendons and all.
Speed is physical and it's technical.
Yeah.
Okay, technique increases speed and your physical prowess. So getting your tendons up will do that.
Absolutely. So Anand says, I have a question which could be interest to all your students in case you haven't already answered it. For some of them, it has to do with the principle of you teaching forward drive when throwing a punch or strike with the hand. Namely, shoulder drives to elbow, elbow drives to wrist, wrist directs to the strike to the target. Here it is. What would the structural mechanics or dynamic be when applying the same forward drive principle to delivering a kick with the foot?
Same thing, no difference. Your leg is just different in terms of proportion. It's the same thing though. Okay, so yeah, it's we use 3-proof for the legs. Okay, so yeah, thank you, but yes, it's true. You're right. But the only difference that we have in terms of how you punch versus how you kick is, in punching you can shift your weight from one leg to the other. In kicking you have to root. So that's the one big difference. Whereas punching, I can go from empty and I go forward and I can turn and sink into it. You can't do that with a kicking. Obviously, you just have to sink into your kick, but you're still going to use a 3-proof that way. That's the one difference is that you can't do. You can't transfer your weight when you kick. You have to stay in root.
So rooting, but it's the same mechanism.
Yeah,
Hip,
you know, we talk about rooting
knee.
for the hands as well, but when
To
rooting,
your
rooting you can phase shift from one point to the other. But when you're kicking, you can't. You must be grounded on the floor. That's the one big difference.
Okay, so Christopher says, good morning, family. Good morning or good afternoon or good night, depending on what time zone you're in now, Christopher. Hopefully I can express this question correctly. In striking punch, when punching, I know there should not be any tension returning to us in the shoulders, and there should be a snapping like action at the end when punching. Here's my question. Should I be feeling my whole inside of the body shake like it if I was in a car stopped in a light and got rear-ended? Probably not.
No. If you think shake, no.
Yeah.
What you want to feel is like a release.
Mm.
So when I'm punching, everything should feel like it's releasing in that point. So if I'm hitting into something, like I'm going to use this so you can see. If I'm using my body, I want everything to feel like it's releasing out to that point. So I don't want to feel like it comes back to me. I want to feel that this drive out. And if I can't move that, it's not going to move me either. It's going to die at the point where my palm or my hands or my arm, whatever it is, hits the point. So I should not be the weak point. The weak point should be the contact point. So if I'm hitting, you're seeing like this. Okay, that's me not creating the root. That's me creating a lean. Whereas I hit, even though, well, now that moved, but if it didn't, neither would I. I never want to feel like I'm getting the energy back to me. If I'm getting the energy back to me, I did not deliver the energy to it. So here I'm delivering. You can see when I hit, I am not moving away. It's getting the effect from the point of contact. If this isn't going to move, well, neither will I. Just the point of contact will compromise. That would be the compromise. The compromise, remember, energy always wants to go the path of least resistance. So if I'm moving and I'm hitting, I'm moving, I create the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance, there should always be, but it should always be the point at which you hit. That should be the point of path of least resistance.
Right. If you're getting whiplash from your own stuff,
you're creating a weak point somewhere. The weakest point should be the point in which you make contact to. That should be the goal. So if they're like, well, what happens if I'm hitting iron? You can't break iron. I tell people once I said like, yo, I'm steel. You can't hurt steel. I said, true, but I can bend it. Okay, you can bend steel. So your job is to hit and make sure that the point at which you hit is not coming back to you. It might not hurt them, let's say, because they don't buckle. Well, neither will hurt you. It's just gonna die in the point of contact between you and them. But most of the time, nobody's made of steel. Okay, so if you hit them, especially when they're not ready, like for example, in the middle of a punch, if you hit them in the middle of the punch, most of their energy is focused on the offense. It's focused on the attack, not focused on the defense. That's the best time to hit them. So if you're hitting them at that moment, they're not going to withstand you. They're going to drop. Okay, so long as you're connected and you're rooted and you're driving through the 3-proof, using your root, using your 3-proof, the point of contact which you make should be the weakest point, and you should not be feeling it back at you.
Yeah. He also elaborated a little bit. He says, he doesn't feel any pressure coming back to my joints. Simply as I tense and release while striking, I get that feeling. I'm going to give myself whiplash. Yeah. Then you're not doing
then
it. Then
you're doing a follow through somewhere, and that's what's causing. So if you're doing like a punch and you're doing a snap like this, and you're feeling like this, and you feel it come back, like you're following through. You shouldn't follow through in terms of throwing your body. You should follow through in terms of twisting your wrist. So if I'm creating a follow through, it wouldn't be a follow through like this, like hit and then follow through. It should be hit and follow through with the wrist, and the body should be.
They should get whiplash.
And the body should sink lower. That's the follow through you want. So if I'm doing the air, if I'm hitting in the air, I want to hit, and you can see my body sink, my wrist turn, and recover. If you're hitting like this and you feel like it's coming back to you, you're creating a delay in your movement, and your body's actually trying to catch up to your hand, or you're following through by pushing rather than turning your wrist and sinking into the ground. So
awesome. He says, thank you for your answer. I understand. And he also said, blessing, thank you for all your great positive role models, not only in the martial arts, but as caring people. I live in Vineland, and I would love to stop by for a class with my wife one day. You are right around the corner, so why not?
Vineland's like 20 minutes from us.
Yeah, you're right around the corner. So I'll send you more information about that, so that way you can come and visit, because we'd love to have you, Christopher. And glad to see that you're on the webinar. So you already know your question has been answered. Awesome. All right. So family, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for everyone that stayed on a little bit longer so we could get through all these and get caught up.
Shabbat shalom, Moshe.
Yes, Shabbat Shalom. And for those of you, if you have any questions for next week that come to mind between now and then, just email us at support@entershaolin.com and let me know that your questions for the next webinar, and we'll make sure to take care of you. For those of you that we're going to see in a couple weeks, we're so excited to see you in Washington, D.C. for our first full Ngo Dac Na seminars. So that's really awesome. Can't wait to see y'all. And I also have 3 extra rooms. So if some of you were kind of like last minute Bettys and we're kind of like, I might go, I might not, I have room for 3 more people. So if you're interested, contact me at support@entershaolin.com. I'll get you hooked up with a room at the discounted rate and get you all set up and registered and all that fun stuff. So for those of you that want to support us more on YouTube, Facebook, as well as our members, you can check out patreon.com/Enter Shaolin. That's patreon.com/Enter Shaolin, and help us get the rest of the equipment we need so we can start making DVDs, because I know there's a lot of y'all that want some DVDs. We want to give you DVDs. We just got to get some more equipment. So help us help you. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.